religious, but you've been born as a conservative Muslim.
That's right.
So what was it like?
Well, actually, I was born in a very conservative Muslim home, and my mother tongue is Arabic. So when I used to memorize the Quran or pray as a Muslim, I understood very well. So it's not like the Kabyle, the Berbers, etc. I was taught in my childhood, in the schools, in my family, in my society, that there is no hope for Christians or for any other religions, because when they die, they go to hell. And the only people who are going to be judged at the end, the end time, are the Muslims, because we were what they were. They were the chosen people.
Yeah. So when did you hear the gospel then?
Well, I heard the gospel back in 1977. I was visiting my brother in Sweden, who passed away, and for me it was the first time to meet a young group of Christians. And actually, they were the only one who came to talk to me and wanted to talk to me about their faith. So I was quite amazed when they invited me to their home, and they didn't smoke, they don't get drunk, they don't go out on the nightclubs on the weekends, and they were very, very strange for me. You know, they are Westerners, they are Swedish, but they are different than the others. And they explained to me exactly what does it mean to be a born-again Christian. That was my first encounter with Christianity, and I realized all what I have heard, what I have learned in my childhood was wrong.
So when did you came to Christ?
Well, I started to read the Bible for myself. And of course, my conclusion after 3 years that Jesus is unique. He's not the same Jesus like in the Quran. He's totally different in his life, in his teaching, in his miracles and everything. But to decide wasn't easy, because I grew up to believe that that the Bible was falsified, Jesus has never been crucified, he cannot be the Son of God, Muhammad is the last prophet, and all these questions I have had, battling. But also, the biggest consequences is what my family will say.
Yes.
And my friends.
How did they respond?
Well, because in Algeria, like in the Middle East, we thinker. We don't decide for ourselves. We decide for the whole family. But anyhow, well, I came to the conclusion, well, this is my life. I am the one who's going to face God one day. It's not my family. So I decided to follow Jesus back in March or April 1980. And I told my family straight away. And they thought maybe he's a young guy, you know.
They thought it would.
Like a fashion, you know, like he's going to pass by this. But then 5 years, 6 years, and
did they see the change in you?
They see a lot of changes. And actually, I went to do my military service back in 1985 in Algeria, and I spent 3 months discussing with them, literally 3 months, non-stop, morning, evening, afternoon. And they told me this is not Christianity. This is new religion you brought for us from Europe, and you're trying to spread it here in Algeria. Because they never knew what does it mean to pray, how to fast, how to love your enemies, how God can forgive your sins, how God can give you the insurance of your salvation. All was new for them.
Yeah. Did it change them?
They respect me a lot because they have seen the changes. And I tried to convince them. They tried to convince me, of course, to come back to Islam. But I thank God because I come from very intellectual family, who are educated, you know.
So there's overall respect for each other.
Open. I mean, we have had some kind of, you know, rejection, but it was very little really. But now I have a wonderful relationship with my family. I have 11 brothers and sisters, by the way. And my mother had 18 pregnancies.
Wow.
So here you go.
So, okay. Well, let's go take a jump in time, because in the 90s, you've survived 2 attempts on your life by Muslim fundamentalists. Can you take us back to those moments?
Well, actually, it was a miracle how God has put his hand and protected all the Christians. I mean, we lived in a small village nearby the Ourahmane city in the west. And one of our main builders who was building for us, you know, the house of refuge, or the safe house, he was one of the main terrorists in the village. We didn't know about him. But God, in his amazing, of course, there was a lot of prayer, and people prayed for us a lot. And I think he came twice to kill us. I wasn't there twice. Once we were in Morocco, once we were already in the UK, and God didn't allow it to happen.
You see God's protection.
Of course, yes. I mean, sometimes when I look back, I say, well, it's a miracle how God has kept us alive, because he has a purpose. I believe that our life is in his hands. Our hairs are counted. None fall without his will. So there is no need to live in fear. But we have to live a normal life. God, he knows our best. At the end, we are going to lose nothing.
So did it change your ways, or were you?
No, we moved to Oran City from that village, and we continued. And actually, God gave me a new vision. Really, this is. I mean, we operate with fasting and praying in Algeria. We don't operate whatever. And I spent about 52 days fasting and praying. God revealed to me His strategy, which is purely from the heaven. And actually, we founded what we call today the House of Hope Fellowship and Ministries. It's amazing how God has led us and what God has done. But we had to move, and because God has allowed us, we moved to Oran City, and we started a new vision, new work. That's still going on very strong.
Yeah, but you still are persecuted yourself. You've in 2023, you've been involved in a lawsuit and fined with a large sum of money. So you've experienced it for yourself. What was the reason that happened?
The first reason back, I think, 2008, I was sentenced for 3 years in prison, a big fine as well. And because someone accused me and 2 other brothers as well, that we have been blaspheming Muhammad with no proof, of course. And this is the first reason. But at the time, the law was not that strong. They wasn't really implemented very strongly. So because I'm a bit known overseas, you know, and there was a huge pressure against the Argentine embassies all over Europe, etc. And he said, well, let us, you know, get rid of this problem here. And I was acquitted. Yeah, so, but, you know, I have been interrogated many, many times. I face a lot of harassment at the airport, coming in or going out.
Can you explain a bit of how that happens?
On
the interrogations?
You know, if you haven't been interrogated by the police in Algeria, I will tell you, they want to know about your life from day one, since you were born till you are with them. And it's a long story. They want to know about your brothers, their children, what they do, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And then it comes to the end, almost, they ask you, why did you become Christian? How did you become Christian? And that was my best, actually.
And that's
time.
That's also a time to share.
What I'm going to share with them.
Yeah.
And my sharing with my friends and my Muslim or my authorities, etc., I concentrate very much on Jesus. He is the one.
Yeah.
And, you know, we have had amazing opportunities to witness to the police, witness to the court, witness to the judges, all of them. Amazing stories. So
this court case is still...
Well, the second one was when I was condemned for 2 years, in my absence, by the way. That was July last year.
Because you were condemned in your absence, and now you are here. So how does that work?
No, well, I appealed. I appealed on 19th of November, and 1 year was reduced. So I have 1 year still, and about 700 or 750 euros to pay. But then I appealed. My next hearing will be in March or April. And hopefully, you know, they will acquit me, but otherwise I have another chance to appeal to the Supreme Court. But we are used to this, you know.
I'm another chance to testify.
Yes.
Well, you spoke a little bit about social media. The government is also using social media to monitor Christians. What are they searching for when they do that?
For Algeria, the Algerian government, anything that shake the faith of the Muslim, according to the ordinances of March 2006, you are against the law. So when they are caught that you are doing this to preach the gospel to the Muslims, you will be in trouble. Before I came here, one of my brothers he came to see me, I had to talk to him. They went to his home, confiscated all his equipment, camera, you know, just imagine coming here, confiscating all your stuff here, laptop, telephone, etc., because he was doing some program for Christians. And he spent 2 months in prison, actually, and had another year, suspended 1 year. I have another people as well. They will confiscate everything. So for them, if you are doing social media, it means you are...
Yeah, they are actively targeting Christians that way.
Yes, but anyhow, you know, we were not afraid we cannot stop, because a lot of programs are coming from France. You know, talk about Algerians as well, Arabs, from France, from Europe, from America. There is so much now on the internet. It's impossible to control.
And does it change the behavior when using social media?
In which way?
No, are you afraid to use it or to search?
No, we have to be careful,
things?
of course. At this time, we have to be careful. We, in our programs, we never talk about Muhammad or Islam or the government. We are pure gospel, pure Christianity. I have. We still have a lot of programs going on today. We are producing many programs up to now. I don't think, one thing that I always say, that God has helped the Argentine church to overcome fear. We are not scared, we are not afraid, because we are doing nothing wrong. And we continue by grace, and nothing will happen without His will. So this is why I have to be afraid.
Yeah. So it's also a good way to spread the gospel. And how do you use it then?
Well, I mean, IT is not my cup of tea. It's my biggest cross, actually. I don't know. But we have many young Christians, very smart. And now, of course, as I say, on the media, on the social media like Facebook, YouTube, you name it, a lot of programs. A lot of Algerian Christians that they have shared their stories, their testimonies, many of them. So you cannot escape. I was amazed to hear a story of an imam who came to faith through the social media. Nobody talked to him.
Can you share that
Well,
example?
He was preparing his message for Friday prayer in the mosque, and suddenly, he came to a word that he couldn't understand. He had to find the explanation. And the Holy Spirit led him to this Christian Coptic church's websites, and then he went to the evangelical, websites, and then he was hooked.
Wow.
And finally, he realized, after, of course, a lot of time, that Jesus is different. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And it was amazing. He came to faith. Nobody talked to him. And then he was looking. He searched for contact with Christians. Of course, they gave his number. And now we are following him up, and he's doing a wonderful job, actually. We have to pray hard that God now has removed him out of this work as an imam. He's teaching the Quran still, because,
It must feel conflicted.
Well, actually, he's not the one. He was the first one. I know 3 or 4 others as well. Come to faith. This is why I'm telling you, the social media is a big impact now.
Yeah, because
in Algeria.
Yeah, because the majority of people in Algeria is Muslim, but your country is considered to be one of the fastest growing church movements in the world. Can you explain that?
Well, among the Muslim, I think the Muslim world. God, in His amazing wisdom, He started a revival amongst the Kabyle, the Berber people. There are 9 million of them or more in the Kabyle area. And the Kabyles, from their childhood, they don't like Arabic, they don't like the Arabs, and they feel always foreigners when they have to memorize Quranic verses in Arabic to pray to Allah, to God. Didn't really fit in there. Suddenly, when the gospel came in a very powerful way back in July 1981, and they realized that God can relate to them and they can pray to Him with their own language, their own tongue. And of course, it was a lot of signs and wonders and healing and a lot of prayer and fasting as well. This is why it spread very fast. And still, actually, we live in the Kabyle. The Kabyles are very tolerant. They are not, fanatic. You are Christian, you are Jew, you are whatever. Nobody cares for you. Only in certain areas. But anyhow, I can tell about 60 to 80% of the Kabyle are supporting us. And they are not happy with the church being closed. But what can they do? So,
well, you are like 40 plus years working for the Lord. How would you describe your work?
Well, a lot of things I think I can describe. But at the moment, as you know, I am the vice president of the APA. This is a big responsibility. And actually now, because of so many Christians, they have been suffering from persecution a lot. So I feel our role is to really be doing a lot of pastoral care, a lot of visits, a lot of help in all aspects. And also, we still do a lot of training through TV, through individuals as well. But also, one of my ministry that God has given to us is to advocate for the Argentine church. So I do a lot of advocacy. With me. The Argentine government are not happy with that. But I do a lot. A very high level, not just... So this is, I feel, one of our ministry. But I think at the moment, the church and the believers in Algeria, they need a lot of pastoral care. So just our presence there give them some kind of...
I can imagine.
Peace.
You brought a book to show us.
Well, actually, this book, I show it to you here, is okay?
Yeah, you can show it to the camera.
Well, this is the book. It's called The Argentine Church Revival. It's available in Amazon. That's give a good documentation about the history of the church a little bit, the history of mission, and how the revival started back in 1981 in Algeria. It's a credible story.
So
And there
if
are
people
many
want to know
stories.
more,
Yes,
they
if
can
they
read
want to
the
know
book.
more, of course,
Yeah.
you can go to Amazon and just Google Algerian Church Revival. My name is there, and you can pick up the book and read.
Good. What is your hope for the church in Algeria?
Well, my hope, I have a lot of hope, but my main hope that the believers will remain fast, steadfast, never give up, never get scared. My prayer is because of this persecution, with the house groups now everywhere, God is arising, will arise many godly men and women, many pastors, many leaders, many Bible teachers, many evangelists. And then when the things change, all this fire will come back again. And I believe Jesus is the hope for Algeria and for every Muslim. That's my conviction.